every few months I get sort of a craving to just sit down and discuss some of the stuff that I like. I think I get this craving every few months because I'm constantly evolving. Okay. My routine is constantly changing. My opinions are constantly changing. One day I absolutely love something. I'm obsessed with it. And the next day I couldn't care less about it. This is just who I am, a constantly evolving person. And some people would say that this means I'm just inconsistent. It's not really a positive thing. I disagree. I think this personality trait of mine makes me interesting. The fact that every few months I have a brand new list of things that I really like, I think that makes me interesting. Without further ado, let me share this list with you. This list of things that have truly brought me joy over the last few months. Tomorrow, I might not care about these things anymore, but we can't worry about tomorrow. No, we can't. All we have is today. Yeah, all we have is the present. And today, this list is relevant. It's powerful. This list is everything. Let's begin. I briefly paused this episode of Anything Goes to let you know that this episode of Anything Goes is presented by Amazon. Getting sick is horrible enough. The getting better part shouldn't be horrible too. Waiting on hold for an appointment, sitting in crowded waiting rooms, standing in line at the pharmacy, that's almost as bad as the sickness itself. Amazon One Medical and Amazon Pharmacy remove these painful parts of getting better with things like 24/7 virtual visits and prescriptions delivered to your door. Thanks to Amazon One Medical and Amazon Pharmacy for sponsoring today's episode. Now let's get back to the episode. Okay, let's start with something super weird. Recently, I have been absolutely loving burgers, hot dogs, corn dogs, basically American meats in between American types of bread. And I know what you're thinking. Emma, aren't you a vegetarian? Yes, I am. Okay. Thankfully, food technology has gotten to a point now where you can be vegetarian and still feel like you're eating meat. Okay. Fake burger, fake hot dog. It feels real enough to me. Okay. I don't know what's going on because I've never really been obsessed with burgers or hot dogs or corn dogs. Like, this has never been a favorite food of mine. I've never cared about this genre of food. But for some reason recently, this is my favorite food. This is all I'm craving. This is all I want. Okay. I want to eat a beautiful, beautiful veggie burger on a yummy, yummy bun. And I want it to have a bunch of mustard and I want it to have a bunch of ketchup and I want it to have little dill pickle spheres on my burger. I want to sink my teeth into it. That's what sounds good to me. I want to grill up a vegetarian hot dog and just squirt all the ketchup and all the mustard on it. And I want to absolutely eat it. If I could have anything right now, it'd be a corn dog. You know what I'm saying? This is my favorite food right now. And it makes no sense. I don't know where it came from. It's so random and it's so out of the blue that it makes me think I'm pregnant. And I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm actually not because I'm on my period. Every month you never know. Okay, anything's possible. I am not pregnant because I'm fully on my period right now. So all good. I've never felt more American in my life. Anyway, it's just so weird, but I am absolutely loving American meat and bread combos. Okay, moving on to something a little bit less random and a little bit more rational, perhaps. Wool socks. Okay, I was fully influenced by the men in my life. Majority of the men in my life wear wool socks. Just a random coincidence. So there's two reasons why the men in my life love wool socks. Number one, comfort. They're just comfortable, which is shocking to me or was shocking to me because when I think of wool, I think of itchy and I'm very sensitive to itch. Like an itchy sweater, it's tough for me. Unfortunately, itchy sweaters are usually the cutest sweaters. But yeah, it's just, I can't do it. Like I'm very sensitive sensorially, if that's a word. Like I'm very particular about how my clothes fit and how my clothes feel. And so if something's itchy, it's just not happening. So when the men in my life told me that wool socks are very comfortable, I was like, they're not itchy? And they're like, no. And I was like, well, I'll believe it when I feel it. The second reason why they love wool socks is because they don't stink. You can wear wool socks for 2 weeks straight. And unless you have some of the most acidic, foul foot sweat, maybe even then you would be fine. But unless you have some sort of radioactive foot sweat, the wool socks never smell. Listen, okay? Like, I don't need to wear the same pair of socks over and over and over and over again. But would I like to? Sure. Long story short, I was convinced. Okay, wool socks seem appealing, seem pretty awesome. I'll pick up a pair. So I picked up a pair of like light to medium thickness wool socks. I'll describe them to you. They're a heather dark gray with some olive green and perhaps brown stripes. Now, this was the color scheme that I got because it was my favorite that was available. Wool socks, if you're unfamiliar, tend to come in outdoorsy sorts of patterns. It's hard to find like a plain white pair of wool socks. In fact, I haven't looked that hard, but I haven't found a pair like that yet. So they tend to look pretty outdoorsy, which is sometimes the vibe, sometimes not. But I bought them anyway. And for the last few months, I've been wearing them whenever they match an outfit and whenever I can sort of wear them in a boot and they won't be seen. And I've absolutely fallen in love with wool socks. And from that pair, I went and found some other different types of wool socks. My favorite right now is this super thick, sort of fluffy, soft wool sock that is not quite as like skin tight, maybe a bit more fashionable looking. And I've been wearing those nonstop. I have quite a few colors now. They are not remotely itchy at all. They're not itchy at all. They're soft and squishy. They feel unbelievably comfortable on the foot and they don't stink. Like I have worn the same pair of wool socks every single day for like a week and a half straight and not felt bad about it because they never stunk and they didn't even ever look dirty. And to some people that might be disgusting. I don't care. I don't care. I mean, my feet don't really stink anyway. And so with like a normal pair of cotton socks, I'll just wear them for 3 days straight. I'm already somebody who pushes my socks to the limit. If I didn't have some sort of guilty conscience, I don't think I'd ever wash the wool sock because I don't think I'd have to. It's kind of a miracle. I absolutely love a wool sock. Okay, moving on to walking. Randomly on the first day of this year, I decided that this year I was going to hit 10,000 steps a day. And I'm a little bit late to that trend, but at the same time, I don't think walking 10,000 steps a day is a trend. I actually think it's just sort of a lifestyle choice. Like I'm going to make sure I move this much per day, right? I never tried it prior because for many years I was into running. And so I was less focused on how many steps I got a day and I was more focused on how far I would run per session of running, right? So on a day that I wasn't running, I didn't pay attention to how much I was walking at all because I had run the day before. And so I was just sort of measuring my cardiovascular exercise different. But this sort of new goal of 10K steps a day has sort of shifted my focus from running more onto walking. And I've grown to prefer walking because I never really loved running, right? I loved the way I felt after I ran, all the endorphins and stuff. But when I was actually running, I never really liked it. On a good day, it would be sort of meditative, but that's like on a good day. And for the most part, it was just fucking miserable. And I was really just pushing through because I knew at the end of it, I'd feel really good. And because it's sort of good for you. It's like sometimes you need to eat your vegetables because it'll help your digestion, right? And it doesn't taste good, but it's like, I know this is good for me. There are times in life when we must do things that are for the sake of our health, even if they're not the most enjoyable. And that's fine. But walking, I'm into it. I'm so late but I'm so into it. Like, a year and a half, 2 years, maybe even 3 years ago, it was so trendy to go on the hot girl walk. And now I'm like, "Oh." Well, I mean, I got it back then, but like it's really clicking for me now. I've always liked walking, but like now that it's a goal for me every day to hit 10K steps, I'm appreciating the routine of walking in a whole new way because I'm walking more than I ever have. You know, I live in Los Angeles, okay? It's not easy to walk. We're not invited to walk in this city. It's a driving city. You have to make an effort to walk. When I visit, Paris or New York, I walk all the time. I easily hit 10,000 steps a day. In Los Angeles, that doesn't happen. So like I've been constantly thinking about, okay, how can I hit my 10,000 step goal? And I've found all of these delightful ways to sort of get my steps in. For example, every night after dinner, going on a nightly walk. I did that a lot growing up with my dad because my dad goes on a nightly walk after dinner almost every night. And so I always did that with him growing up. And I still do that with him when I go and visit or when we're like on a trip together, we'll always go on a nightly walk. Whenever I'm with him, I do that. But when I'm alone, I don't do that. And now I'm doing that and I'm absolutely loving it. And it's starting to become a part of my Los Angeles routine. I'm taking the stairs more often. Now that I'm trying to hit a number, every time I see the stairs, I'm like, okay, this could help me get my numbers up. Let's take the stairs. And I break a little sweat and it feels really good. And I'm starting to notice like, wow, I'm really getting good at climbing the stairs. I have a treadmill at home and I've sort of gotten into a little mini routine of working on my little iPad while on the treadmill. I like set it up on the little platform and I walk and I work and it's incredible. I used to think that I had to run and like running needed to be a part of my workout routine in order for me to release endorphins and feel good. But making it a goal to, walk as much as possible has actually ended up having equally as beneficial of a feeling for me. And I'm loving it even more than running. I'm all about walking. I know I'm late, but I love it. So I had to talk about it. Moving on to retinol. What is retinol? I'm going to read the definition online because I don't want to mess it up. Retinol is a form of vitamin A that's used in skincare products and as a dietary supplement. It's used to treat acne, wrinkles, and other signs of aging. Retinol increases collagen production, which can help skin look firmer and plumper. Retinol can help clear pores and reduce breakouts. Retinol can help reduce hyperpigmentation caused by sun damage, hormonal changes, or acne scarring. Retinol can help even out skin tone by increasing cell turnover. Retinol increases cell turnover, which exfoliates the skin and allows new skin cells to grow. Retinol neutralizes free radicals in the middle layer of the skin. Retinol blocks inflammation pathways in the skin. Start slowly and gradually increase your use of retinol. Apply retinol at night to avoid irritation from sun exposure. Use sunscreen during the day to protect your skin. Retinol can be harsh on the skin, causing redness, scaling, or flaking. Retinol can make skin dry, especially when you first start using it. That is the brief summary of retinol. Okay. And retinol has been sort of in the zeitgeist, in the skincare zeitgeist over the last few years. I've seen a lot of dermatologists talking about it on YouTube, like making videos about it. I've seen a lot of skincare influencers talking about it. Not even like skincare influencers, but like lifestyle influencers just showing them using retinol. And I've been sort of curious about it. But I have really sensitive skin and I was sort of overwhelmed. Like, I'm in such a good routine. I don't even know where to start when it comes to finding a retinol. But then I randomly got sent a retinol from a really reputable brand. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to try it. Like, I've been sort of in the same skincare routine for a long time. I'm at a point now where I can be really intuitive. Like, I know what products to use when, depending on how my skin is feeling. And so I was like, I feel like I'm intuitive enough with my skin these days that I can integrate something new and I'll be able to tell if it's not working. Anyway, I started using it. I'm using sort of a retinol oil and I'm having no issues, okay, at all. Like my skin is loving it. Does my skin look, completely different than it did before? No, but I think my skin is reacting well to it. And I'm really making sure to like start slow, not use too much product. And it's freaking working for me. And it's exciting because I really like the idea of using really good products on my skin that can, potentially help keep the skin looking as good as possible without like having to go in and start getting Botox and stuff. Like, listen, I'm not judging. I don't care. Do whatever you want. But I am going to wait for as long as I possibly can, maybe even never participate in these sorts of anti-aging procedures. I don't want to do that, right? That's just not my vibe. So it's exciting to me to find something that, dermatologists are like, this is a really great product and the results are really good. And it's like natural enough. I don't know. It's exciting. It's obvious. Listen, this is all obvious, right? Like, but I don't know. This is like an exciting ingredient for me to integrate into my routine. And so far my skin has been reacting really well to it. I'll keep you updated. And hopefully I just look completely smooth as a baby in a few months after using retinol for a while. We'll see. Okay, moving on to two sort of games. Okay. One is a board game. One is not really a board game. I don't even know. It's a dice game. I'm obsessed with physical games. Okay. I'm really loving it. But these two in particular are my current obsessions. Number one, the dice game Yahtzee. I've heard of Yahtzee before. I've seen senior citizens playing it before. That's not me being rude or derogatory towards senior citizens. I'm just literally saying I've never seen somebody under the age of 60 playing Yahtzee. Anytime I've ever seen this game being played, it's with people over the age of 60. I'm now realizing it's not because it's a game that is nostalgic to a certain generation and, it isn't really fun anymore. There's much better games to play and it's sort of, lost its allure for newer generations, but it's not something that only that generation can enjoy. Okay. I thought that was the case. I thought it was like, oh, well, this is probably a nostalgic game that these people grew up playing. But like its value is mainly coming from nostalgia for these people. I was so wrong. We're all judging the game Yahtzee. Okay. Yahtzee is an incredible game. Over the holidays, my family and I were obsessed with Yahtzee. In fact, I'm talking about it right now and I'm like, oh my God, I just want to play Yahtzee. I love it. Okay. Basically how you play is like you put 5 dice in a cup and you shake it and you throw it on the table and you're basically trying to roll different combinations. Like, for example, 3 of a kind or 4 of a kind, which would be like 3 dice with the same number or 4 dice with the same number, or like a straight, which is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? You know what I'm saying? So like you're trying to roll these different combinations and you have a little piece of paper that has all of the different combinations listed and you're trying to roll as many of them as you can. And for each turn, you get to roll 3 times. So you roll once and then you can like pick up, let's say 2 out of the 5 dice and re-roll those 2. And you're trying to get a combination that you like and you get 3 tries per turn to do so. And it's just absolutely so fun. And it sounds stupid, but it's so fun. I'm obsessed with it. In order to roll a Yahtzee, which is one of the combinations that you can roll, you want to get 5 of a kind. So like you want the dice to be all 5s or all 6s or all 1s. The feeling when you get a fucking Yahtzee is, it's like an orgasm. Okay. Have you ever had an orgasm? Okay. That's what it feels like to roll a Yahtzee. So if you want to have an orgasm outside of the bedroom, go ahead and get the game Yahtzee and start playing that with your loved ones. Cause it feels really good. You could even play it alone. It's not as fun, but you could, which is also a unique trait of the game. Anyway, you need to be playing Yahtzee. We all do. Moving on to the next game, Clue. I absolutely loved Clue as a kid, but I used to play games with my dad. Like my dad and I loved games. We loved board games, card games, everything. And I was an only child of divorced parents. So when I was at my dad's house and we were playing games, it was just the two of us. And I always wanted to play Clue, but Clue requires 3 people minimum. And so over the holidays, there were, lots of people around and I was able to play Clue. And wow, I really fell in love with Clue. Clue is basically a board game where it's like a murder board game. Basically, there's all these cards with a bunch of different characters, a bunch of different weapons, a bunch of different rooms. And you separate them all into their own piles of people, weapons, and rooms. And then without looking, you take one person, one weapon, one room, and put it into this little folder and put it in the center of the board and hand out the rest of the cards to the players. And then the cards in the center of the board become the murder weapon in the murder room where everything happened, right? And then everybody takes turns moving around the board and going into a room and then guessing like who they think did it and with what weapon in that room. I don't know why I'm explaining the rules. Long story short, you're trying to figure out what's in the center of the board using process of elimination by asking people, like basically trying to figure out what cards they have through making suggestions. And then if they do have the card, I'm not explaining this anymore, but you get the idea. If you don't know how to play Clue, it's not that fucking hard, okay? But it's so much fun. Don't rely on me for the instructions, okay? Read the instructions in the box. But I'm absolutely loving Clue. It's so exhilarating. It's so exciting. It's really challenging psychologically. Like I feel like I'm constantly behind and like constantly overwhelmed by all the potential options. And the more you play, the better you get at strategy. And you start to figure out more and more complex ways to analyze the game that's happening and like figure out what the other players are doing. And you get better at analyzing their behavior and using it as evidence for yourself. It's like insane. And the more you play, the more insane it gets. And it's just so much fun. I really do love physical games. I think everybody needs to go to their local store that sells board games and pick up a few because they've definitely gone out of style, but I think it's time that they have a comeback. Okay, next. Moving on. Hot yoga. Obsessed. Hot yoga and hot Pilates. Yeah. For many years, I was going to like a hot yoga, hot Pilates class once a week. And then slowly I started going a little bit more and a little bit more. And now it's something that I do like 4 or 5 days a week because I love it so much. It's definitely one of the hardest workouts I've ever done, which is interesting because, in theory, it's like we're not lifting heavy weights. We're not doing like 30 minutes of cardio. At least a third of the class is spent doing pretty subtle, gentle actions, but it is so hard. I mean, the heat itself is really uncomfortable, right? But the small sort of movements and the gentle movements, when repeated over and over again, like that shit hurts. And there's something about sweating to that extent and doing that style of workout that just for some reason works really well for my body. Like I feel really good afterward. But I actually enjoy the workout too. Like the workout's really hard and it's really uncomfortable, but it's a type of hard and uncomfortable that for some reason for me psychologically, I like. I, for many years, did a lot of like boot camp classes, which was like running and weights. And that was sort of my go-to workout class for many years. I liked it. And I still like it. Sometimes I'll still go to those classes sometimes if my body is craving it for some reason. But I found that I got really sick of that after a few months. And, I kept doing it because it made me feel good, but it was like it lost its excitement. There's something about hot yoga that just like never gets old to me. But also I think the emphasis on sweating and stretching also make it something that over time are making me feel better and like healthier, which I'm not like claiming any health benefits for, going to hot yoga. In fact, I actually did a lot of research when I started going a lot on whether or not it's even healthy to go 4 or 5 days a week because I was sort of concerned. And I did see some things that were like, it can potentially, be detrimental to your electrolyte balance in your body because, you're sweating a lot. And so I supplement on days that I go to hot yoga and I supplement with very like fast absorbing, well-rounded electrolytes, which helps a lot. And I drink a lot of water and I just am intuitive with my body. If something's feeling off, I'm like, all right, I need to either be, drinking more water, supplementing with more electrolytes or whatever. But I don't know. I've been fine and I felt really good. The constant sweating, I'm not going to claim that it's like detoxifying me because I've heard a lot of pushback from like scientists around like what detox even means and like that the word detox is like abused in the wellness space, because our bodies are constantly detoxing. Like we don't need to go sweat to detox. Like that's not how it works. I've heard doctors and stuff talking about that. So I won't say that I'm detoxing, but I do feel refreshed from sweating on almost a daily basis. Like it just makes me feel physically good. I don't know why. I also think hot yoga is becoming trendy. Like I'm predicting that. I've talked about that before. Like I think it's going to become sort of the trendy workout of the year. And I'm there. I'm there and I'm into it too. So I'm fully like into it. Like it's a cult for me. But I have a tendency to join the sort of workout class cult. Like many years ago, I was in the cycling class cult and then I was in the boot camp class cult. I never really got into like reformer Pilates or anything. I never really liked it very much. I tried and I got kind of into it for a few months, but like just doesn't work for me. But this is working for me and I'm loving it. Okay, moving on. The TV show Squid Game. Now, I know what you're thinking, Emma, you're probably talking about season 2 because season 2 just came out. No, I'm talking about season 1. I'm just now getting around to watching it. And that's something you need to know about me. I weirdly refuse to consume a piece of media when it's popular. It's very hard for me when something first comes out and it's hyped up and everybody's talking about it. It's hard for me to motivate to consume that media because I feel like everyone's talking about it. My opinion on it is going to be swayed and confused because everybody else seems to like it. I weirdly become disinterested in something if everybody's talking about it and everything and everybody likes it. And that's not me trying to be like a fucking pick me. Like, well, I only like listen to like an album that like one person listened to. Or like I'm only watching movies that are like indie that nobody it's not even that. It's just that like I don't even really like TV and movies to begin with. Like I've always preferred like documentary, YouTube, stuff like that. Like that's always been my preferred entertainment source. So unless something sounds like genuinely interesting to me as a person, I'm not just going to watch something because it's popular. However, the irony of that is that usually things are popular for a reason. And so when I eventually come around and watch them, I really like them. That's exactly what's happening right now with Squid Game. I finally got around to watching it, honestly, because someone in my life was like, can we fucking watch this so that we can watch season 2 and you know what's going on? And I was like, I guess. So like I started watching this not even because I wanted to, but rather to bond with a loved one. Okay. And it's such a good show. It's fucking insane. It's an insane show. I don't watch a lot of TV. I'm not like a TV junkie. So I can't really speak to like shows like this in this category. I haven't seen a lot of shows like this. Like this is a very sort of action, drama, thriller, crime, like everything sort of story. And it's very action packed and there's a lot of stuff going on at once, right? And I could be totally wrong about this and I just haven't seen enough TV, but I feel like Squid Game is truly one of the most dynamic shows I've ever watched in my entire life. Like the amount of storylines that the writers have going at once in season 1 is unbelievable. it's mastery. Like the fact that like seamlessly in a way that's easy to follow, there's like 15 storylines going on in one TV show. And it all flows perfectly and the timeline of it all makes sense and like it's just incredibly done. And again, I don't know if this is like the standard, like the industry standard and like all action drama, dramatic crazy sort of shows like this is how they're structured. They have like 15 storylines going at once and they all seamlessly work together and that's the art of this genre of television of like action and stuff. But I just it's really crazy. And the actual story itself is so interesting and smart and dystopian. It's such a good show. And I know I'm so late, but I'm just here like 3-4 years later to say I finally watched Squid Game and I totally get it. You guys, I'm here and I totally get it. It's making me like get into TV. Like now I'm like, oh my God, I want what series am I going to watch next? Because now I'm in this routine of watching one episode every night before bed, which is sort of horrible because the show is very intense and scary and it kind of is making me anxious every night, but all good. But yeah, now I'm kind of in the routine of watching TV, which I don't think is bad because I do appreciate the art form of, television and movies and stuff. And, I always have wished that I was more into it. But I've just always been more interested in YouTube and documentary and stuff. So like fictional TV and movies, it's just never really been my thing, but I've always wanted it to be my thing because I really do appreciate the art of it. I just like have so often been disappointed by it or like been afraid of the commitment of sitting down for a 2-hour movie or starting, a 12 episode series that it's sort of prevented me from getting into it. Also too, the fact that it's fictional, it's not real. So I'm not learning anything from it that's like factual, right? If anything, I'm learning something through metaphor or through like theme or whatever, which is valuable, but it's less promise that I'm going to learn something, which to me, I'm like, ooh, is that a waste of time? I've always had issues with fictional television and fictional movies, but Squid Game is changing that for me because I just absolutely love the show so much and can't stop watching it, even though it is really disturbing and is making me anxious when I fall asleep. It's so good. It's worth it. Okay, next, water carbonator. For like the last year now, I have been obsessed with drinking sparkling water with apple cider vinegar in it. In fact, that was in my last list of things that I like. That still remains, okay? I still am drinking that every single day, all the time. And it got to a point where I was going through so many cans of sparkling water. At a certain point, when you're consuming that much of something, you're like, this feels wasteful. I need to figure out an alternative to small little sparkling water cans because I'm going through a case of cans a week. Like this just feels wasteful. And so I finally decided that I would get a water carbonator. Okay. And it took weeks to figure out which one to get. I found this one that was really aesthetically beautiful and I was like, oh, maybe I'll get this one. But then I read the reviews and the reviews were sort of iffy. So then I found this other one that like was super automatic. You put water in it and like in a tank in the back of the little machine. And then you just press a button and it just spits out carbonated water. But then I read reviews on that one and it was like, this one's really messy. Like, maybe wouldn't recommend. And then, there's of course like the Soda Stream, the classic, where it's like a plastic sort of cheap looking kind of bottle that you attach to the thing and then you carbonate. And, that one had pretty good reviews. But then there was another brand that was maybe a bit fancier than the Soda Stream, and that one had really good reviews. And so that's the one I decided on. It took me so long to pick the right one. I got the brand Drink Mate, okay? Drink Mate water carbonator. It's not super fancy. Like I'm somebody who will spend a little bit more money if something looks aesthetically pleasing, but this one had the best reviews from like a actual carbonating the drink standpoint. And I bought it and I'm absolutely loving it. One of my favorite things about it is that you don't have to plug it into power. It's powered by a CO2 tank. So like I can store it inside of a cabinet and then just pull it out whenever I want to use it. And I don't have to plug it in or anything. It's so easy. It takes 5 seconds to carbonate. It's incredible. And now I'm sort of living the DIY life with two products that I constantly used to rebuy. Nut milk, because I have a nut milk maker from the brand Almond Cow. And now I have this water carbonator from DrinkMate. It's like it's just being able to make stuff, on your own, I think is so fun, but also like convenient because you never fully run out. Like I can make nut milk whenever I want because I always have the raw ingredients. You know what I'm saying? I can make sparkling water whenever I want. I have the CO2 tank. I have extras if it runs out, worst case scenario, and I always have plain water. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, I actually mentioned this in my 2025 ins and outs. I was like, I think making stuff yourself is in. Anyway, and my water carbonator is just unbelievable. Moving on to another thing that I've already talked about. In my 2025 fashion trend predictions, I mentioned digital watches being in. I'm so into the digital watch. I've been wearing a digital watch for the last few months. And I sort of told this story in my 2025 fashion trend predictions when I predicted the digital watch. I was kind of anti the digital watch at first, right? I sort of discovered it because somebody in my life wears a digital watch. And at first, I was sort of repulsed by their digital watch. I was like, this is absolutely hideous and weird. And I wasn't hateful towards it on that person, right? But being somebody who loves clothing and fashion and accessories in all capacities, every time I look at something, I'm thinking about whether or not I would wear it, you know? And so this person in my life was wearing a digital watch. And when I first saw it, very, very quietly in my own head, in brain, I looked at the watch and said, that's the most hideous thing I've ever seen because I'm a human being and I can't control my thoughts. Okay. And if I see something and think it's absolutely hideous and weird, I will think that. I will not tell the person because I'm polite, but I will think it. And I did. And then I came around eventually and was like, you know what, though? I do like the idea of a digital watch because I can't easily read an analog clock. I hate setting an analog watch. It's so annoying. And it's never like perfectly exact. It actually sounds like a genuinely useful thing to wear. And so I found one that I liked that was smaller and dainty. It's like just a rubber, little Casio black watch with like a little blue border around. Yeah, I don't even know. And I put it on. And at first I was like, I don't like it. It's uncomfortable. And the person in my life who wears the watch was like, just keep wearing it and it'll get comfortable. And I was like, okay. So I wore it for like a week. I haven't taken it off since. And actually, do you know what? That's not true. I did take it off for one day. And multiple times throughout the day, I went to go look at the time on my watch and I didn't have a watch on and I freaked out. Now the watch is on me 24/7. I never take this little $20 watch off. It's unbelievable to me how much I absolutely adore this watch, and it's $20. I say that because majority of watches are very expensive, and for, somewhat valid reason. A lot of watches are really masterfully made and very, they're little pieces of art, and I respect the art of the watch. But these watches are like, tens of hundreds of thousands of dollars. And so it's just funny to me that my favorite watch I've ever owned and the watch I've worn the most in my entire life is a $20 Casio watch. And I'm not saying that to like be like, oh my God, look at me with the 20. I'm just saying it's genuinely one of the best watches I've ever had. It's the most comfortable. It's the most durable. I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about damaging it because if it gets damaged, I'll buy a new one because it's $20. It doesn't matter. It's not like, oh my God, I need to go get it fixed or like whatever because, it's a $40,000 watch. It's like, it's no biggie. If I can fix it, I can fix it. And if not, no stress. There's no stress around it, I like the way it looks now too. Like I actually think it looks cool. I'm so into it. Love a digital watch. Next. I have really been obsessed with orange flavored mints. For a long time, I really loved orange Tic Tacs. However, I am very picky about artificial sweeteners these days, and I cannot stomach them. Like my stomach will have a meltdown if I consume aspartame, which is the artificial sweetener in most artificially sweetened things, Diet Coke, Tic Tacs, etc. And so I found an alternative. It's by the brand Pure, tangerine, little mints, and they sort of remind me of the orange Tic Tacs, but they don't have aspartame. So I can pop them in my mouth all day whenever I want, and they never give me a stomach ache. And it's incredible because I have been on a nicotine quitting journey for a very long time now. And one of the hardest parts about quitting nicotine for me is not having something constantly in my mouth. I have a very serious oral fixation issue, and I like to constantly be chewing on something or sucking on something. And I've been like that since I was a kid, sucking my thumb from the time I was born to age like 12, and then vaping from age like 15, 16 and onward. I chewed gum for a while, and the aspartame in the gum started to really hurt my stomach. So then I started chewing aspartame free gum, but then I started to get really severe jaw pain. Now I'm enjoying these tangerine flavored mints. Okay. If you're somebody who can stomach aspartame, I mean, I still wouldn't recommend it because it's, I think, a carcinogen now. Is that true? Is aspartame a carcinogen? Let's look. The IARC, no clue who that is. Who is that? I don't know. Sounds reputable though. The IARC classifies aspartame as possibly carcinogenic to humans. There's limited evidence for cancer in lab animals and limited evidence related to possible mechanisms for it causing cancer. Oh, okay. Interesting. But it is apparently, it looks like it's banned in Europe. I don't know. Anyway, I'm really on those now. In fact, I go through like literally a pack a day. Like they come in these little tins, and I literally am sucking on these all day long. They're so good. Moving on. Next. I'm into cooking again. I'm back. I always love cooking. I love cooking shows. I love cooking YouTube channels. I love cooking everything. I love looking through cookbooks. I love going to the grocery store. I love food. And I honestly sometimes wonder if I'm a super taster, which is like, apparently there's a certain like genetic trait that is being a super taster or like a super smeller, where you can taste and smell flavors that most people can't pick up on because they're so vague. Sometimes I think I have that because I literally will take a bite of something and be like, that has rosemary in it. And they're like, how did you even know that? There's like 1 tablespoon of rosemary oil in that. And I'm like, I don't know. I just know. I could also just be sort of educated on food in that way more than the average person. But anyway, I go through phases where I cook, and I'm so back. I was really off of it for a while, and recently I just finally got back into it. And what I'm particularly loving is finding recipes in cookbooks, which I haven't really done before, to be honest. I feel like majority of the recipes before now have been like either random recipes that I've come up with on my own, or like random recipes I've found in YouTube videos, or random recipes I've found on Pinterest. That's honestly how I used to find majority of my recipes, on Pinterest. But what I'm really enjoying about the cookbook is the fact that these recipes are like good enough to be published in the book. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, if something's being published in a book, it's probably pretty fucking good. You know, whereas the internet is the wild, wild west. Okay. I can't tell you how many times I've copied a recipe online and it been all right, but like not the best. There's just so many options online. Like if you Google homemade falafel recipe, you want to make homemade falafel and hummus. Do you know how many different falafel recipes there are on the internet? I don't know, probably 40,000. Okay. How are you supposed to narrow it down? I mean, and sometimes they have reviews and stuff, but like, I don't know, there's just something really reassuring about the fact that a recipe is in a book. Like I just trust it. And I've had really good experiences thus far. I mean, I've only cooked a few recipes from a cookbook, but enough to know that I'm really into this sort of method. And I also think it's kind of fun to collect cookbooks. Like you can refer to, you know, recipes again that way. I personally love having physical books around that I can just pick up when I'm bored. So I'm into it. And if anyone wants to get me a gift, get me a vegetarian cookbook. Actually, I guess a pescatarian cookbook, because I cook fish for people sometimes and for myself, but I still sort of consider myself to be a vegetarian because I don't think I eat fish enough. I don't know. It's really confusing for me. We don't need to use labels. Okay, moving on. Speaking of cooking, having a really fancy cooking knife is kind of a game changer. I've watched a lot of cooking shows and a lot of cooking YouTube, and I've seen a lot of chefs talk about, the importance of like having a go-to knife. And randomly, a company actually sent me, I wish I could remember who, I literally can't, showed up in my mailbox a beautiful Japanese cooking knife. Like handcrafted, handmade in Japan, beautiful, like top notch. And I was like, this is my dream. This is my dream knife. Where did this thing come from? Who sent this to me? It was so random. It was so sharp and so fancy that for many months I was like, I can't use this thing. So it just sat in my drawer. And then recently when I picked up cooking again, I was like, I'm going to start using this knife. And let me tell you, it is unbelievable. The experience of using a beautiful, beautiful, fancy knife. It's the only knife I use now. I don't need to use any of my other knives because this knife is versatile and so sharp and so good. It does it all. I don't need any other knife. Okay. If I were to like want to cut, a loaf of bread or something, I'd need to get out like a large serrated knife. Obviously, there are times when you need other types of knives, but for majority of like cutting, chopping, all of this, I can just use this incredible knife. And I think it's something that we often underestimate. Like instead of buying like a beautiful large knife set with like, oh, I just farted. Can you hear it? Did you hear it? I don't know. Anyways, instead of buying a really expensive knife set, buy one really good knife. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. I'm all about like the one really good knife. Really fancy cooking knife. It's just incredible. Okay, moving on to frozen peas and carrots. Okay, let me explain. I have never had a particularly hard time eating vegetables. Like I've always pretty much liked vegetables, And my favorite vegetable for a long time was broccoli. And so I would just add broccoli to everything. Like if I would make like a pasta dish or something, I would just like steam some broccoli and throw it in it and mix it in. Or, if I needed a vegetable with my dinner or I wanted a vegetable with my dinner, I would just steam some broccoli and eat it. Like broccoli was always my favorite. And recently, within the last few months, I have been virtually unable to eat broccoli. I'm slowly but surely able to eat it again, but I had a really traumatic experience. I was grooming some pre-cut broccoli because that's how particular I am about how everything is cut and cooked. I'm particular. I like things to be perfect. And I bought pre-cut broccoli, but I decided to groom it a bit more cuz when you get it pre-cut from the store, it's like pretty well done, but it's not perfect, right? And while I was cutting it, I noticed something gray and slimy in the broccoli. And I cannot say for 100% certainty, but in my mind, I'm 100% certain, so it doesn't even matter. It was a slug, all intertwined in the pre-washed, pre-cut broccoli. If I had found that in broccoli that, I bought from a farmer's market, it'd be a bummer. It would make me uncomfortable. It'd disgust me. But there's something about the fact that if I was not the freak that I am and I didn't feel the need to clean broccoli and cut broccoli extra and get it into perfect pieces, that I wouldn't have found it and I would have potentially eaten part of a snail that was wrapped in my broccoli piece. That has traumatized me. It has completely traumatized me. And what's even worse is I tried to cut it off. I don't like wasting food. Okay. So I tried to cut off what I thought was the piece where the snail was in, and I just threw it away. And I proceeded to steam the broccoli. I took the broccoli out of the steamer, and as I'm pouring it out into a bowl, I noticed the piece that the slug was in. And you might be asking, Emma, how do you know which one it was? Because there was more slug that had now steamed and like expanded into, I can't. I am already a bit of a picky eater. I'm a bit particular about food. This occurrence has completely put me off broccoli. It's heartbreaking because it's my favorite, but I was so disgusted by this. And what's impressive is I actually I picked out that piece that had the little slug on it or whatever, threw it out, and I proceeded to eat the rest of the broccoli after like really carefully looking at the rest of the pieces. But this has traumatized me and scarred me so deeply that I've really had a hard time eating vegetables since. Like I'm just afraid of something hiding inside of my vegetable. I'm disgusted. This sort of happened to me a while ago with raspberries too, where I found like a little caterpillar inside of a raspberry. And ever since then, I cannot eat raspberries without looking inside of every single one, right? This is just who I am. Okay. I don't like eating bugs and I get grossed out easily and then I just can't eat something for like months and months. But I know the importance of eating vegetables and I feel good when I eat vegetables and I actually enjoy vegetables. But because I'm so put off by them right now, I've had to get creative. And it's actually hilarious because I almost feel like I'm my own mother. You know, when like moms will sneak vegetables into their kids' food so that their kids will eat vegetables by like blending it up into something or like putting it in pasta and mixing it up with sauce so that you can barely see that there's vegetables in there. Like, you know what I mean? That's literally what I have to do with myself these days. And so recently, my favorite go-to vegetable to just add to anything I can to get vegetables in is peas and carrots. Yep, peas and carrots. I will put steamed peas and carrots into anything. My favorite is if I'm making a pasta dish, a little bit of peas, a little bit of carrots, add it in. Honestly, delicious, by the way, like genuinely delicious. But it's so fucked up. I hate getting food aversions like this, but I'm slowly but surely getting back to being able to eat other vegetables too. But in the meantime, like peas and carrots have been saving my life and I literally add them to everything. Okay. Like another example would be I like to make little egg bites. Like, you know how Starbucks has the little egg bites? Well, I like to make those too. Okay. And I used to add broccoli into my egg bites, but no, I can't anymore. So, you know what I started adding? Sounds weird, but peas and carrots. And it actually is quite good. I'm just adding it into anything that I would normally add broccoli into. And it's tasty and it's doing the trick. Next, I don't know if I've talked about this before, and that's why I'm talking about it now. Period underwear. Okay, I'm talking about underwear with a built-in pad. I cannot express how much this has changed my life. I would say my favorite brand is the brand Knix, Knix. I can really like bleed in these underwear, okay? And I'm good. And you know, if I want to be super powerful and I really don't want to have to like wear a tampon or anything because I am kind of off tampons recently, like I'm really avoiding them. I'll put like a pad and then wear the period underwear. There's no bleeding through. There's no way. It's impossible. I just think period underwear are absolutely incredible. It's a genius invention. And I'm on my period right now. I'm wearing the period underwear right now. And like, I just feel safe. I feel comfortable. I feel like everything's going to be okay. I feel like I'm not going to leak on my pants. I'm not frightened. I'm not scared. I feel contained. And I'm really off tampons right now. The whole concept of them, like, they're necessary sometimes, but I think I just read too much about them online to the point where it started to make me paranoid about them and like not feel like they're the best option. And so I'm like loving the period underwear because that in a pad together, I feel like I don't even need to wear a tampon. And that's a good feeling because I don't want to wear a tampon. Obviously sometimes actually I recently bought like one of the little cups, you know, because for really heavy periods, you know, sometimes you need more than a cup in a period underwear. Sometimes it's really heavy. I bought one of those cups, but my period has been pretty light the last few months, so I haven't needed it. But I do have the cup ready because I'm just off the tampon. I think everybody needs some good pairs of period underwear. My favorite though are the shorts. They sell like little period underwear boy shorts. They're so fucking comfortable. I would just wear them on a normal day when I'm not even on my period just because they're comfortable. Okay, moving on. Adding little charms to my earrings. Everyone's talking about charm necklaces. What about charm earrings? Okay. My favorite type of earring to wear is a huggy, like a little small hoop in all my, you know, miscellaneous piercings. In my main hole, I like to wear a hoop, like a big hoop, right? That's my go-to. It has been for the last probably 4 years. But in the other holes, I like to wear little huggies, little tight to the ear, small hoops. Huggies are cute and huggies are fun, but they are a bit boring. And I was recently in the market for some silver charms or white gold charms because I've noticed over the past year and a half since switching over to white gold / silver jewelry and having that be sort of my go-to metal that there are way less cute options in white gold and silver, in my opinion, than there are in gold. I feel like the gold designs are often like more timeless, more dainty, more everyday, whereas white gold or silver jewelry is either really, really plain or like e-girl vibes or like e-boy vibes. Do we remember e-girl, e-boy? Okay, I'm talking about like a little angel or like a little cross, or it's like very like almost gothic. Like that's a lot of the stuff that you find online. And I was like, this is not what I want. Like I want the same sort of jewelry designs that I'm finding in gold, but I just want them in white gold or silver, and I'm not finding it. So I sort of came to the conclusion that I was going to have to kind of do my own jewelry designing to find what I wanted because I wasn't finding what I wanted. So I decided like I'm going to look online for some, really cool like white gold, silver charms that I could then, attach to earrings or wear on a charm necklace or like attach to things so that I could take, the simple, basic white gold, silver pieces that I'm finding and then spice them up with my own additions, right? Because I'm not finding stuff that has it all in one. So I found this website that was selling like every type of charm you could potentially imagine in white gold and silver. They had white gold and silver in all of them. And I was like, this is so fun. So I ordered a bunch in various like symbols that sort of have some sort of personal connection to my life in one way or another. I wasn't sure if it was going to work or if it was going to look good, but I was like, let me just try. I wanted to put it onto my huggy earrings, like the little small huggies. It's so cute and unique, and it did exactly what I wanted it to do. And so, I don't know, if you have some charms hanging around, potentially attach them to your hoop earrings and create like a brand new earring out of it. Or if you're white gold silver wearer and you're feeling like, wow, I am not finding things I like, this could potentially be a method for you. I'm still in the market for a really good white gold silver chain. I've ordered a few and I've hated all of them. So I don't know. Okay, next. Wearing the same outfit over and over and over again for like 3 weeks straight until I'm sick of it. I've had multiple outfits like this where I've just gotten into the routine of wearing the outfit literally over and over and over again for like 3 weeks. Now, the reason why I'm able to do this is because I work from home for the most part. So like I wear comfy clothes for the most part. And I actually go out and see people only a handful of times a week. And so I'm talking about every time I go out and leave the house and am, dressed up, I'm wearing the same outfit. Now, the truth of the matter is like the only people I'm seeing over and over again are people that I don't care if they see me wearing the same outfit over and over again, right? So it works out. And what I like about it is that it's sort of like a micro uniform. It's like a short-term uniform, which I'm really enjoying because I do love the element of like not having to choose. And that's something I've been struggling with for a long time, is feeling like, oh my God, I feel like every day I want to have a new outfit. Every time I leave the house, I want to be in something fresh. I used to feel a lot of pressure to do that. And that just like got old for me, and I was like, well, maybe I should have a uniform. But then that was too extreme for me because I was like, I do enjoy fashion a bit too much to have a full-on uniform. You know what I'm saying? So that's not going to work. So then I ended up narrowing down my closet to something that's a bit more concise. Many people do not agree with me, as I've shown my closet collection on my YouTube channel, and many people were like, that is a massive closet filled with clothes. Yes, but it is far more concise and far more themed than ever before, where everything sort of matches, etc. It's as close to a capsule wardrobe as I've ever been. Narrowing down the closet to a bunch of stuff that all kind of matches and goes together, that is more timeless and buildable, combined with sort of this limited uniform structure where like I'll pick out one outfit that I really like and then just wear it for like 3 or 4 weeks straight over and over again. It's working out really well where, everything in my closet is getting its moment. Things are not getting neglected. I pick out an outfit that I really, really love, and then I get to just enjoy it. That's not to say like I wear this exact same outfit every single time I leave the house. It's not like a structured rule. It's just something that I've recently allowed myself to do, which I didn't before. A good example of one, I have this like slightly cropped pair of olive green like work pants. I was wearing those with cream socks, black flats, simple black flats, black and white striped shirt, black cardigan. I've worn that a billion times. I had this other one that I wore a billion times, which was a pair of capris with a black long sleeve. Okay, stick with me here. A black long sleeve with a white tank top over it with a lace like half top over that. Okay, so it's like a bunch of layers. And then little white socks and little cream tabby flats and little black sunglasses and a little olive green bag. I wore that. I've worn that so many times. I'm actually still wearing that one. Like if I go out this weekend to do something interesting, I'm going to wear that outfit again. Another one I had was dark gray dress pants, black. I have these black like tabby shoes that are like leather, like almost like a loafer looking thing. Anyways, and I was wearing that with just a simple black turtleneck. And if it was cold, a little black cardigan on top of that. I wear that all the time. That outfit really gets worn. Anyway, but it's just like these little micro uniforms. Like all of these, I've probably worn each of those ones that I just listed at least 10 times each within the last 6 months. And I know what you're thinking, Emma, this is normal. Like normal people wear the same outfit over and over again. Yes, however, this is new for me because for many years I had a fucking insane closet filled with a bunch of random shit that I had collected over the years that made no sense and had no sense of like, this is what Emma likes or this is a good building block for Emma. It was just a big fucking clusterfuck of God knows what that I thrifted or whatever that I thought was cute or could be something in the moment, but actually was not good for me at all. But I just bought it anyway because I had a shopping addiction. And then me feeling like, oh my God, every day I need to wear something new. I have so many clothes. Like I need to constantly be wearing new things. I can't rewear outfits. It's like it's taboo, like all this, like, even though I knew that was stupid, I still felt the pressure. So this is new for me, it's toxic. It's also like, it's cringe. Like it's cringe for me to be like, oh my God, I'm wearing the same outfit twice. I'm obsessed, but it's true. And so that's why I'm mentioning it. Okay, moving on. I put this on the list before. I'm going to put it on the list again. I love my fucking Stanley Cup. In fact, I have 2 Stanley Cups or 3. Can't remember. I have 3. I use all 3. Okay. So let's not be like, okay, Emma, like Stanley Cup over consumer. Why do you need 3? No, I use all 3. No, I do. That's the thing. I use all 3. Okay. And I absolutely love them. And the reason why I bring this up is because we all shit on the Stanley Cup culture because it's become this trend to like collect every color and they've been overhyped. It's like, oh my God, how good can a cup really be? I don't care what anyone says. I love my Stanley Cup. I don't care if they're overrated. I don't care. I love my Stanley Cups. I love that I have 3 of them. I love them as a group of 3 and I love my Stanley Cup. I love each one individually. Okay. I have a cream one. I have a dark blue one and I have a weird sort of ugly rose gold looking one. Okay. And pretty much at all times, the blue and the cream are in rotation. And in one, I have sparkling water and apple cider vinegar. Don't worry, I did extensive research about whether or not it's safe to put vinegar in a Stanley Cup. It is. Okay. So don't get on me. I did hours of research on that. So that's in one Stanley Cup. And then in the other Stanley Cup, I have electrolytes because I do so much hot yoga these days. Okay. And then that last third Stanley Cup, I know what you're thinking. Emma, you don't even use that thing. You absolute consumerist pig. What are you doing with that third Stanley Cup? Shut the fuck up. Shut up. Okay. I have people that come over, friends, family, loved ones, and I like to fill up a Stanley Cup for them. Yeah, if somebody is hanging out at my house for an extended period of time, they get to have a Stanley Cup. Do they want to bring it home? Do they want to borrow it? They can. It's no problem. Or let's say one of my Stanley Cups is in the dishwasher because I routinely clean my Stanley Cups because I'm not disgusting. I can whip out the ugly sort of rose gold looking one and use that one. I don't know why I bought that one. It's a hideous color. I absolutely hate it. But it doesn't matter because it does the trick. I love the Stanley Cup. I'm fucking sick of people ruining a good thing. Like, stop ruining the reputation of a good thing. That's what we do with everything good in society. In fact, I could make a whole episode about all the things that we've ruined by like ruining the culture around something. Like, we've ruined the culture around the Stanley Cup. But I'm here to try my best to bring it back. So I have 3 more, but the last 3, I'm putting a fucking disclaimer before it. Okay? Because these last 3 things are genuinely things that I've been loving recently. However, they relate in one way or another to a brand that I work with actively right now. They did not tell me, hey, Emma, can you mention us in your podcast? No, this is not in the contract. This is not a part of the deal that we've sorted out. Okay. This is just me genuinely talking about these things. However, I am mentioning that I'm affiliated with the brand, even though I technically don't have to because they're not sponsoring me to say these words. And trust me, I'm not trying to get into a lawsuit. So you're never going to see me not disclosing my advertisements. Okay. I'm very, very particular about that. But I have to say that I like these things because I genuinely do. But I'm also just lucky to be affiliated with them. And I get paid to talk about them sometimes. But right now is not one of those times. I'm not being paid a dime to talk about them. Although they probably will love me for this. And I love you guys back. Although one of these brands is my own brand. But so let's begin with this portion of the favorites. Okay, number 1, we have the black Adidas Taekwondo sneaker. These are very trendy right now. These became very trendy last year. A lot of fashion influencers were wearing these shoes. If you don't know what the Adidas Taekwondo looks like, it's like, honestly, it sort of looks like a Samba, but it has no laces. It just has like a flat top, but it doesn't fully look like a Samba. But yeah, it's very like, it is pretty sporty. Anyway, I have a black pair and I absolutely love this shoe. I love the fact that it's a slip-on. I love that it's an all black, simple, smooth shoe, but there's a little pop of white. So it like makes it a little bit more dynamic. I'm really into it. And you know, they are really popular and they're very like trendy right now, which can sometimes like when it comes to a sneaker, it can be tough because it's like, wow, does everyone have this sneaker? But I don't care with this one because I genuinely love how it looks. And I feel like it's just weird and futuristic looking enough to not just feel like a sneaker. Like it feels interesting. It feels elevated. And I feel like I can wear them with a more elevated outfit, like a black skirt or like, you know, a sweater, and it doesn't feel chuggy. Like sometimes when you're wearing like a fancy, nice outfit with a sneaker, it can feel chuggy because it can feel like, this outfit would look better with a loafer. This outfit would look better with a little ballet flat or something. This shoe to me feels elevated to a point where I can wear it with a more elevated outfit and it fits. It like feels right. I love it. I really think it's a good shoe. That leads me to my honorable mention Adidas shoe, which is the Adidas Tokyo. I'm telling you, they're not paying me to say this. I just genuinely really am enjoying these shoes. The Adidas Tokyo is an incredible shoe. It's like a very slim retro fit. Again, very on trend for right now. Undeniably on trend for right now. You know, this sort of retro slim sneaker in sort of retro colors. The colors I have right now, I have, you know, the like creamish bases with, there's a pair with red stripes, blue stripes, and green. I have all 3 because I work with the brand. So I have the shoe. I love them. I really love them. I do. They're really comfortable. And to me, they're classic. To me, they're classic and they're timeless. I really do believe that they're timeless because they're so simple. And I think that they're great. Anyway, those are my favorite sneakers right now. I'm kind of in a sneaker phase as of the last few weeks. I was really into a flat phase. Like I was wearing a lot of flats. But for whatever reason, for the last few weeks, I've been really drawn to a sneaker. And that's why I'm mentioning it now. Okay, moving on to clear glass coffee mugs. It's the wintertime, and you know what that means? Emma's drinking a hot coffee in the morning, which is a new thing as of the last few years because I used to only drink iced drinks, even if it was 2 degrees outside. But as I've gotten older, I've enjoyed a hot drink a bit more. And it started as something that during the wintertime I'd order at a cafe, but never make for myself at home. Now I absolutely love making myself hot lattes. Now here's the deal though. Okay. When I make myself a beautiful hot latte, I don't want to pour that into like a diner mug and not be able to see the beautiful layers of foam on the top and like the swirly milk in the bottom. Like I want to see that shit. And that's why I love a clear glass mug. Now, the reason why this is in the portion of the episode that is not sponsored, but is affiliated with brands that I am affiliated with is because my brand, Chamberlain Coffee, does sell clear glass mugs. However, if you don't like my brand, don't worry. They sell them in other places as well. Okay. So you can find them elsewhere. If you don't want the Chamberlain Coffee logo on it because you hate me, that's totally fine. It's my favorite mug. And I have other mugs that I absolutely love. I have some nostalgic, mugs that I've had for many years. I have a mug that I bought from my favorite hotel in Paris. I have a mug with like characters, Moomin. It's like Moomin Land, like the little Moomins. It's like a little cartoon, whatever. Okay. I used to love those books when I was a kid. I have all these mugs that I really like that have personal sentimental value to me. And yet nothing brings more joy to me than drinking my beautiful latte out of a clear mug. I want to see what's happening. I want to see how much I have left. I want to see the foam on the top. Like I want to see everything. I just feel that way with my coffee in general. Like I need to see it. And then last but not least, I have been really loving going online and finding things that I love that are discontinued. Scouring the internet, scouring resale websites. The reason why this one's in the flagged section is because I work with eBay, which is my favorite place to do this. I've found some incredible discontinued stuff on eBay, okay? That like I can't find anywhere else anymore. Because I feel like I'm at a place now where like for the most part, when it comes to my closet, I am pretty solid with what I have. Like I don't necessarily desire new things. If I stumble upon something that's absolute magic, and I just have to have it, it's so me, it fits perfect. I'm absolutely like, I know I'm going to get good use out of it. I'm not like completely in a phase where I'm not buying anything. I'll buy it. But more than anything, I'm like, whoa, there are things in my closet that I love so much that if they discontinue this, like I'm going to be really bummed out because this is something I want to be able to wear for the rest of my life. Okay. So I have certain things, right? Like I have this pair. This is an example recently where I literally bought multiple pairs of these pants because they're discontinued on resale websites. Okay. I was literally scouring the internet and bought every pair I could find, which I actually found quite a few. Like I'll be good at least for the next 10 years when it comes to these pants. Now, you all are going to laugh at me and I'm honestly like mortified to even tell this story, but I'm going to tell it because I'm open with all of you. I know this is a brand that we hate. Okay? For the most part. Most of us hate this brand. Especially those of us who have watched the documentary Brandy Melville. There used to be a pair of Brandy Melville sweatpants. They are cinched at the waist, wide leg, no cinch at the bottom. So they're straight leg, go straight all the way down. They are not fleece. They're not fuzzy. They're like just cotton, kind of heavy. They're perfect. I'm sorry. They don't make them anymore. So they're gone. They don't exist anymore. You can't buy them on the website anymore. I wear these sweatpants as normal pants all the time. Listen, I'm not a fan of Brandy Melville anymore. Okay, those days are over, right? All good. However, I'm not going to lie about the fact that these are the best pants. They're my favorite pants of all time. And I wear them almost every single day. Every single day, I would say at one point, I wear those pants. Sometimes in the evening time, if it's a bit cold in my house, I wear them out and run errands in them sometimes. I style them. I will style them for a more casual outfit, but they can be pulled off as pants. I adore these pants. And when they discontinued them, it was really traumatic for me. And for the last few months, I've been frightened, like walking around every day afraid. Like, what if I stain these? What if I rip them? What happens then? Freaking out. And lo and behold, I dug around on the internet and I found as many pairs of them as I could. And now I have a few more of them on the way. And some of you might be thinking, Emma, that's excessive. That's stupid. No, it's not. I wear them every day. Like, I have some favorite like basic tops that are from Free People. They've had those tops for the last, can I be honest, 10 years. The exact same top for 10 years. It's not going anywhere. So I'm not like loading up on that. You know what I mean? It's stuff like this that's just random, you know? And so that's what I've been doing. It's like if something works, I think it's okay to be like, okay, I'm going to find all of them on eBay and buy all of them. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's actually valid and not excessive. All right, that's it. That's it. Those are some of the things I've been liking recently. There's definitely more that I'm forgetting, but that's fine because that just means I'll have more to talk about in a few months when I do this episode again. I hope that you enjoyed this. And if you did, let me know somehow. I'm on social media at Anything Goes, at Emma Chamberlain. You can find me there. If you want to hang out again, new episodes of Anything Goes every Thursday and Sunday. Stream anywhere you get podcasts and stream on YouTube. Videos on Spotify and YouTube if you want to see me. And check out my coffee company if you like coffee and want to check it out. ChamberlainCoffee.com, at Chamberlain Coffee on social media. I, at the beginning of this episode, Instacarted some cereal that I was craving. Wow, maybe I should give this cereal a shout out. Cinnamon 3 Wishes cereal. Just sounds good to me. Need a little bowl of that. So I Instacarted that. I really don't know what got into me. I had to have it. It was very weird. Maybe I am pregnant, like the hot dog and burger thing. And then now I need to have this cinnamon flavored 3 Wishes brand cereal. It's very random. Anyway, but that is outside of my doorstep right now and I need to go eat that. I just need to pour up a bowl of that. So I will talk to you all later. I love you all and appreciate you all. Thank you for showing up and wanting to hang out and listen to me talk. I really appreciate it. And I'll talk to you very soon. Okay, bye.